Welcome back to another podcast of Love Sync, where we will discuss the most answered question in this podcast, with that is basically asked a lot by our friends and family.
Yeah.
International relationship on a cultural level. How the hell do you do that? And we've been going strong for 6 years, but we also
Is it
had
6 years?
it is 6 years. Um, but we also had our bumps here and there. We do have to admit to that.
Yeah,
Um,
we
so
do our have own struggle in our relationships
I think
in
everyone
terms of
has
the
that. You
yeah,
will
yeah,
have experienced that
yeah.
on a
But
personal level.
we do more, yeah, but we do have like more multinational struggling, you
Hmm.
know. Did you find something that what is the most struggling part for you as a multinational couple? For me, can I say it first? Because
I'm not
because for me
stopping
the
you.
most struggling because the most struggling part for me is the language.
No,
I mean,
really?
not yeah, I'm no, don't get me wrong, because not the English part, but your language, Dutch,
I,
is
I think
kind
this.
of a
I think the
little
saving
tricky.
grace in our relationship was that we both speak fluently English. Um,
Hmm.
with some misunderstanding here and there, but that happens. But when it comes to personal levels, country language, so mine
Yeah.
is Dutch and Christina's, of course, Indonesian Bahasa. It
Hmm.
is a struggle, and we are
Yeah.
both trying to learn each other's language. I am making progress. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to recognize words. That is my learning curve. But it is a struggle on certain moments because you interpret words differently, and it sometimes hits us. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
um,
and also I took the class for Dutch,
mhm.
and that's quite difficult because I never imagined that there's one time in my life that I need to learn Dutch, the language that I never think that I will learn, but
Mhm.
it is because right now, because we're already married, and then uh, we're fine with English in for our daily conversation, but when it comes to the family, it's a different problem because my family cannot speak Dutch and also a little bit English. And also for your families,
Well, basically,
yeah, a little bit English.
most of
Hmm.
my family can do English. My brother can do speak
Hmm.
fluently English, and my sister's like, eh, hanging in there. But my mother is no, I am not even trying. She's trying, but she's like
Hmm.
she runs to my brother and tries to like translate. My beloved daughter-in-law has sent me a message. I need to know, you know, and sometimes she sends me the message. I'm like, can you just not ask my brother? It's a bit awkward, you know. Um, so it's.
And that's also the same struggle for me because when I want to text your mom,
Mm-hmm.
which is my mom-in-law right now, and then I need to ask you first, like, okay, honey, is it the right words? How to say it in Dutch? Because I understand that if it's not polite for me, I think,
Mm.
in my opinion, it's not polite for me to send it her in English.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I do cheat using the Google Translate, but I know, yes, that the Google Translate is not perfect, so why not I just like ask you? And
Mm.
also the same thing for you.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
yeah, definitely.
also asked me to when you want to text my parents. So we're joining the both family groups, yeah, for information.
On
So
WhatsApp, and
yeah.
they are not holding back on their foreign language. They're like, my family is going fluent Dutch, and my family-in-law is going fluently in Indonesian bahasa, and we both
Bahasa.
looking at each
Yeah.
other. What is going on? What is something happening? You know, and
Yeah.
we cannot. It's like basically. I think it was me that told you once. Like it's going too fast. I cannot translate this all in Google Translate. You know. Um, so, but it is also sometimes a struggle on our daily lives. Like we want to. Uh, for some reason, people automatically link the English language to their foreign language. They do it unconsciously. That's the word, right? Yeah. Um, and that means that the interpretation of certain words, like I said earlier, is different than what you think it
Yeah.
is, and that collides a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean.
That's true. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That's true. But also, did you remember the funny thing is that for me, it's very funny. The funniest thing happened in my life when now I have two families in Indonesia and in the Netherlands. But after we marriage, after the ceremony, that we met, that our family gathered, and then in the villa, remember
yeah.
when I need to translate it to you? That's quite a really long, translator.
So,
Like
yeah,
my parents wants to meet um,
my
uh,
family.
Patrick's family, and then Patrick's family cannot understand Indonesian, and then my family cannot understand Dutch.
So
So we're
you know that
interviewing.
you know that game where you have like a can and then you need to put that against your ear, or that other game where you have to whisper in someone's ear a word
Yeah,
and they have to chain it towards the
yeah,
other person. That's how we felt. Like my mother was asking something, I had to translate it in English towards Christina, and Christina had to translate that in Indonesian bahasa. That's
yeah,
like constantly. So that was the most longest conversation that we had, and we both were drained so much. Like we felt like Google on that moment.
yeah, yeah. Even for one question, it might be took like for 5 minutes because long translation. My
Mm,
family talked to me in Indonesia, and I translate to Patrick to English, and then Patrick translate it to Dutch, and then their family answer in Dutch, and Patrick translate Dutch to English, and me English to Indonesia, and then they answer. So it's happened like for 2 hours, I think.
yeah,
The meeting
yeah,
is
yeah.
the
That
formal
was.
meeting is for 2 hours.
I mean, it was a
Yeah.
wonderful occasion to see happen. But for me, please, one time, not again. Like I was struggling so bad. Um,
If you remember, it's quite funny. And then, oh gosh, we're
I
tired.
for some reason, and I actually didn't tell Christina about this, but she knows this
Hmm.
about it right now
Yeah.
on the
What is it?
podcast. Is that
Uh-huh.
my aunt was sitting there also, and my mother, well, my aunt didn't speak anything of English or Indonesian bahasa. She's also pure
Hmm.
Dutch. She told my mother like, "This is the most cozy and lovely conversation and meeting that I ever seen." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like really?"
That's a
Uh,
bit sarcastic.
no, no, no. It was literally legit, well meant. There was no
Yeah.
sarcasm. Yes. So
Oh.
that was quite funny to hear coming that from my mother. I was like, okay, nice to know that.
No,
Um,
even your sister. When my dad talked a really long Indonesian, and
mhm.
then I translate it, and then your sister just say to me, "Is that all?" Because your dad is saying a long sentence in it, and then you only translate it into a few words.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
because I
that.
can, Hmm?
Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah,
remember
right.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's kind of, yeah, I don't need to translate everything for every sentence. I just can, you know that I can make it a cut. into the words or the sentences that no need to be translated, because my mom sometimes, if you know it, that time, no need to translate everything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah. I know.
translate it. Don't translate it. But you know the side eyes to me. Don't translate it.
um, so little bit different in regards, and I'm not going to go in depth with this because that's a podcast for itself. Basically, is also a struggle when it comes to bureaucratic bullshit, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. Um, and I'm
No,
going to
you
give
need
you
to
an
censor it.
example. I'm
Bureau. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to give you example of this. Where back in the day when COVID was happening, long time ago, um,
3 years ago.
Christina was here, and because of my medical condition back then, Christina was like, okay, fine, happy dancing and everything, but I want to have a corona shot because my boyfriend
Yeah.
back then, me, is medical sensitive, so said. So she was
I'm
here for
obligated to do that.
she was like 3 months here, and it took me until the day that she flew away back to get the bloody corona shots papers. Like for me as a Dutchman, I can literally make the appointment, go towards the location, take the shot, I get the registration on my phone, and done. But that's because I'm one Dutch and two I'm European, so I don't have that issue. But for Christina, it is a different story because she is not European;
Mm-hmm.
she is Indonesian. She has to get a temporary civil code, social code, and then with that social code, you need to be registered in the system, and so on and so on. It was a nightmare
Yeah.
bureaucratically. It's the same thing with Indonesia, right? It's vice versa for you there in regards to matters about me.
Yeah, because back then before Corona, you guys no need any visa to come to Indonesia, but because of the Corona, Indonesia have a different rules for foreigner that want to come to Indonesia using the business. It should be the business visa or the visa on arrival. Um, Back then when you're here, you got the business visa, right?
Yeah.
The business visa, and then after that, after the business visa was erased and then changed into the VOA, the visa on arrival, until now, which is, I think that, why do you need to do that? Because Corona is over, and then just give it back to the old rules.
Mm.
Why you need to still doing the VOA and such? It doesn't need to
I,
do
I
that again.
I do remember that I got pissed off, and that's actually a hook into the next segment of this lovely podcast. Is that I we went to remember that we went to the immigration office south of Jakarta. I think it was south Jakarta.
No,
Um,
it's east.
East, okay, east.
East.
We went to
Uh-huh.
east, and the guard was like, "Oh ho ho, stop! You cannot enter." And I'm like, "Why? Why can I not enter?" Like we were dealing with an extension of my visa, and the guard was like, "No, no, you cannot enter." It was only later on that Christina explained to me like it's a tradition or a uniformity to have long pants when you go into a government building. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something I couldn't understand back then, as it is not tradition or common for me in the Netherlands. We can go with a short pants to any government building if we want to. You just need to be dressed formally. You need to be good looking. It's it's a different case if you like coming as a hobo inside a government building. That's totally different. But for short pants, they it was really like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, because in here, short pant is categorized as a not formal clothes. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a brute wake up call for me, and that's only one of
No,
the traditions that we collided on, so to say.
the the thing is, the thing that I don't like from that kind of information, that's an unwritten rules in the government building,
Hmm.
and I forgot to told you about that because I don't realize they will be doing that. They will be did that. But the thing is that you're in the government building and immigration, for example, for specifically in
Hmm.
the immigration, and then you didn't talk any English or any foreign language. You
Yeah.
only talk Bahasa Indonesia, and then how can that happen? Because the one that coming to immigration is not only Indonesian.
Hmm.
It's it's also foreigner coming there. So why not talking in an English?
Yeah.
Because you think that you saw me coming with the foreigner, with you, with bule, or what? So you can easily talking Indonesia, talking speaking bahasa to me.
Mm.
Okay, maybe that time I should no, sorry, I cannot understand you. What did you say? Maybe I should say that.
What was one of the traditions for you here in the
Hmm.
Netherlands where you're like, this is weird. This is this is normal for you guys, but this is
Mm.
weird. You know?
The do not know things for you, but it's weird for me as uh I don't know, maybe you first.
Another one example that I have right off the top of my head is the passports. We, I think it's like a European thing, not
Oh,
specifically Netherlands
uh-huh.
thing, but we are very, very tied towards ID, I passport. It's our
Hmm.
um, proof that we are saying who we are. It's on this document, you know. And when I came the first time to Indonesia, it's like um, it's a whole story, but basically the rundown is that I had to turn in my passport and I had to
Oh,
say,
because the quarantine hotel.
yeah, the quarantine hotel, but
Oh.
also the immigration afterwards. For extending, I had to turn in my passport. And through this day that I have to do something like that again, I feel anxiety crawling up my spine because I don't have my passport. Um, I feel like my identity has been stolen, basically. Um, and it's a weird thing to say, but because I've never really experienced such a feeling, but because we are so tight here in the Netherlands towards our passport or towards identity, it's a really weird thing for a Dutchman to give his passport or ID card, and
Hmm.
for more than 24 hours.
Well, actually, about that, maybe you're more shocked about this that you need to if you want to open the bank account and any anything of the formal documents that you
Mm.
need to give your ID card,
Yeah,
even with a photo you took a photo, or maybe you can send a copy of it, and then a lot of things is needed. Your copy of your ID.
yeah,
So actually, I was been told by my friend that maybe you shouldn't do that because the worriness of the data leaks. So we need to be more careful about that. And then right now, I'm more concerned about sharing my ID photo or maybe the copy of my ID. It's kind of make me. It's because of you also that you need to.
yeah. And she's saying that for a reason because we in Europe, or especially in Netherlands, we've been climbing up the ladder of the GDPR, which is the safety in privacy. And
Mhm.
I have been making her well aware of the dangers of losing your identity and what it can cost you. And since that time, I'm
Yeah,
luckily that she has seen the light. But she's been more careful with giving out her ID.
yeah. I think all of the Indonesian needs to be more careful about their identity and also their ID card, because there's a lot of case in here that their ID card is
Fraud, yeah.
was stolen, and then for the fraud, for the we call it in here pinjol. It's online borrowing money,
Yeah, that's called phishing
so
here. It's called
yeah.
phishing.
Well, phishing is more like from email, but this is
No,
you gotta call,
phishing
and
can
then yeah,
be
there's a lot of
is a version of that. So phishing is an all
yeah. That's
round term.
part of the phishing. Yeah, that's part of the phishing.
Um,
So yeah, that's we need to be more careful about it.
so did you find any other traditions that you have been shockingly taught about when you were here in the Netherlands that you were like, wow?
Well,
I
I
do
won't.
rem.
I want to say that. Huh?
No,
What?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I do want to say like maybe living together, but that's not only in the Netherlands, but maybe in another country other than Indonesia doing that. But I don't know.
I would say your experience when it comes to shopping in the Netherlands has been an revelation for you, because it's quite different. It's in what I've experienced in Indonesia is that
Hmm.
it's more like you need to go to the cashier every single time to pay or something off, which
Hmm.
is normal. But in the Netherlands, when you go grocery shopping, you can also do it yourself. You can go to a self-scan and pay your check and everything. And that was also a
Yeah,
very
but
funny moment.
that's kind of that's kind of annoying for me. The
Scan.
self service cashier.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying for me because I do feel sometimes I do feel like, are you a thief? Are you a thief? I've been feeling that kind of moment a few times in the Netherlands, in the shop in the Netherlands, because
It is not so much
sometimes
a
they,
yeah. It's not so much of a tradition here, and especially it's not. But it is a growing concern here in the Netherlands. I don't see it so much in Indonesia because Indonesian people are very nice to me when when I'm walking there. But here it is seen as a racial discrimination profiling, which means that certain people are targeted um, for being profiled. Like, oh, these kind
yeah.
of people automatically steal stuff, you know?
Hmm.
um, or they lie,
They
or they.
never, yeah, they never like pointed out to me that, hey, did you stole something? No, but from the from the machine itself, that sometimes pay I
Hmm.
cannot pay because it needs to be rechecked by the staff. So I need to call the employee and then, hey, can you help me with this, because this machine needs your registration from you and such. So
Hmm.
okay, I want to make it faster to shop, but I need to call you and then I need to recheck and redoing, scan everything again, and it's just wasting time. It's better for me just to queuing in the cashier. And then, oh, I know now, the card. Because you guys, there's not a lot of shop in the Netherlands can accept Visa or MasterCard.
Well,
That's,
Mastercard
oh
is, but
gosh,
it is
hello.
certain. We are how to defend my country on this point. Um,
you guys, you guys have the Maestro, right?
mhm.
But the
We have
most
Maestro.
common in the world, the most common thing in the world is MasterCard and Visa.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
Mastercard is actually accepted, but Visa is not.
but
Not
there's
not
a few
everywhere.
shop.
Or you have
like
to go
even more
to
steps
the
visa.
yeah, or you have to go to the expensive shopping area that certain person in this podcast loves to go to.
Action.
No, not the action. The action is the
You
most
will.
action is the budget of the budget stores that there is.
No, I love budget things. I love the budget things. Yeah, because sometimes I can find
I,
something
in
in
this
action.
in this case, I was talking
That's
about the
really
outlet.
cute. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, the outlet, the thing that we forget to get the paper to
Oh
claim the
yeah.
tax refund.
Yes. Sorry, we
That
are
sucks.
totally not getting distracted by stuff. So back on topic between the relationship in international porn.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more topic that of subject that is really tied towards this, and it is communication, which is challenging.
Well, yeah, the time difference. I think it's really challenging for me. Other than distance, yeah, other than distances, the time differences sometimes. Oh, come on, can you just like wake up? I need your help right now, but I
and
cannot call him. I cannot call you like
and
right
I'm
now.
sleeping.
Every time I need your help because it's just like a song from the I forgot Natasha Bedingfield. Bedingfield. It's
Something.
with Simple Plan. Jet lag that you said good morning, I said good night.
Mm.
So yeah,
So the
it's really happened to us.
So to get this in perspective, we are with summertime and wintertime included, 6 to 7 hours
Hmm.
difference between us. So for me, it is now still sunny outside, and for her, it is pitch dark at the moment.
Hmm.
That is that's a problem, and the other problem is indeed we are not together, which is also a struggle. Um,
Yeah.
but that's because we are on distance. If we are together, that's not a problem, of course. Um, but the communication on distance can be challenging. We have only our phone
Hmm.
and our Google Hangouts to talk to each other,
Hmm.
basically.
And also now this podcast.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and most of the time we
So
don't.
help us to yeah. And also we do have a short and then the TikTok for you guys that not yet follow us. Just please follow us.
Well, you have to give them the name.
Well, you can see it downstairs.
No,
Downstairs? No, sorry.
the
You
Spotify cannot see this. I think it's
Okay,
like
we do have a
Itik
TikTok.
Balanda, I
Yeah,
think.
yes. Itik is from our name, Inan Patrick. So it's Itik. Itik in Indonesia, it means duck. So yeah, it's Itik Belanda for our TikTok account and also for our YouTube account. So please subscribe and follow us in our social media to get to know us better other than this podcast.
Yeah, we have more stories to tell. We have more little things that happening to us, from visiting the zoo, from growing towards Bali. Um,
Oh,
we have
yeah, I do
seen quite a
remember
lot.
one thing. The
Yes.
struggling part, the struggling part for me is because did you know guys that every time I went to the toilets in the Netherlands, I need to step up and maybe I should use the chair to climb because they put the mirror is too high for me. So I was feeling like a little kids that they have a sink, the waterfall for the kids. Maybe I should use that because it's too high for me. I cannot reach it.
Well, welcome
It's just like, oh
to the
wow.
lands of the giants.
Yes, I even feels like, do I live in the line of the giants or what?
Also,
Because,
the
but
interpretation of certain attractions in Indonesian that I just remembered. like and this is the last one because we have to closing off now, but is the zoo one. In my interpretation of a zoo is that you go there to look at the animals, and that is basically what you do in the Netherlands. And
You saw the
Christina
animal?
and Christina did warn me, like, are you sure about this? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? You know. And Indonesia, it is more picnic area than going to look for the animals because the animals are hiding because it's so bloody hot there.
Yeah, I told you.
It was fun, so that's a fact. But that was the last
Yeah, but
last.
someone was
Uh,
grumpy.
no, I was not grumpy. I still deny this.
Ah,
But this is the closing
no.
factor of all of our segments of this podcast. If you have questions, feel free to ask, and I will try to get to it in
No,
the
he,
next
he just
podcast.
didn't want to be blamed for.
Shush, shush. Anyway, and I thank you all for listening, subscribing, and viewing us on Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you are listening to, or YouTube or
Yeah.
TikTok. We are very grateful for you. But until then, till the next time, have a lovely evening or lovely day, wherever time zone you are in. And bye bye.
Mm. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoy it. So, if you have any question or share to your experience, feel free to leave it behind in the comment. See you and doei!